everybody, if you got what it takes, cause I'm KRS and I'm on the mic and
Broadcast live and heard around the world, you are now listening to the most entertaining hour of radio on the planet. It's the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com with your hosts Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak. The High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour is your home for football analysis from the best fantasy players in the world. And now, because no one else was available, here are Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak.
with the master rhymer, that's the lead behind the video rapper, you know the truck driver, tapper.
All right, hopefully we are back here on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour with Balky and Dave Gerzak. We'll give it a little bit for the live listeners since they're on about a 30-second delay, and they can let us know if they're hearing anything right now. But we were talking about the Lions running backs going forward. Dave said that there's not much fantasy stuff to be gained from the Lions running game, and I kind of believe that a little bit. You know, I look at Ty Johnson as far as what he's been the last couple of weeks. I actually started him, Dave, I don't know if I told you this, in one of the Kentucky leagues I run, in one of my better leagues that I run there in the KFFSC. I started both Chase Edmonds and Ty Johnson as my running backs this past week. Did not work out so bueno.
Holy crap.
Which is unfortunately.
That really sucks.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I look at it and I was feeling really good because my receivers, I think I had like 4 top 15 receivers in that league, along with Edmonds and Ty Johnson. Didn't work out necessarily all that great. And I was hoping that was the league I had Kenyon Drake in, because I knew I had Kenyon Drake in like 2 leagues, and I was hoping that Kenyon Drake was one of them. It didn't happen for me that past week. So we'll try to retool there. You look at the Detroit running game going forward. Neither one of us are very bullish on the Lions going forward, and we will leave it at that. Now, let's move on and talk about the Jaguars receivers, Dave.
Ooh, how exciting.
Yeah, well, we'll see how exciting it is. D.D. Westbrook, questionable for the Texans game in London coming up, which we should mention is a 9:30 a.m. Eastern time start. So make sure you are getting your lineups in prior to that.
The Jaguars play in London a lot.
It's because of the relationship that Shad Khan, Chaka Khan has with the Londoners, the Englanders there.
Right.
Yeah, that's why Jacksonville plays there a lot.
It's actually kind of a quick flight, to be honest with you. Jacksonville's on the east side of Florida.
That's
so you
true.
just right over there.
Yep. Yeah. So you're having Jacksonville play the Houston Deshaun Watsons this past week. But when Jacksonville's on offense, they have D.D. Westbrook, who is questionable. He did not finish last week after he's...
Didn't he have a 0?
Yes, he did. He aggravated...
You can't start D.D. piece of crap 0 Westbrook after he screwed you last week.
This is great. This is good stuff now. Okay, so he had an existing shoulder injury that he re-aggravated.
Plus, he's not even that good.
Well, that's debatable. But he's going to be in London this coming week. We don't know if he's going to go or not. But if he does sit, Dave, you look at Chris Conley. We're going to talk with our guest coming up, Brian McKinney, about Chris Conley. What are your thoughts on the Jacksonville receivers sans D.D. Westbrook? Is it Conley? Is it somebody else? How do you look at this?
You mean other than DJ Chark?
Other than Chark, yeah. Well, we know Chark is going to be good. You got to start. You're starting him no matter what, right?
Probably.
It's very.
He's not a top 10 receiver. He's like
close though. Yeah.
Yeah,
top 15, sure.
Plus, anyway, you normally start Chark. Texans defense isn't all that great. If I was in dire straits, I would consider Conley if Westbrook was out. I would not start Westbrook, even if I would actually start like Frank Gore or Adrian Peterson over
as a flex. So because
at least you can count on those guys. They're in their mid-30s and they play running back and they get the ball a lot.
Right. So even if you find out early, like 8 a.m. Eastern time Sunday morning, Westbrook's active, you still have several trepidations about starting him.
Yes.
Okay.
And for all the alcoholics out there, you really should probably make your decision, before that morning, because you're not going to be up in time.
Hold on. No.
Now, you're not going to be up in time.
Okay.
So you clearly need to make your decision right away.
Okay, but now here's the thing about that. You remember this is daylight savings time this past week.
Oh, we get an extra hour.
So you get an extra hour.
Hour of drinking?
Yeah, an hour of drinking, an hour of sleeping, however you want to look at it. So there is that. And maybe you will be up early in time.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So there's something.
This has been a really good weekend to go to the Breeders' Cup at Oneida.
I don't blame me.
If only.
I blame my brother and his wife.
For having a stupid... What? Hang on. So, by the way, Balky can't go to the Breeders' Cup at Oneida, which I would have gone to with 2 Packers in the chat room. And our buddy Leroy has to work.
Oh, is that official? He can't go because of that?
Yeah, some knob wouldn't switch shifts with him. So now Balky was our only hope to be the third guy. And what is it, 100 days of being alive?
Yeah, well, my brother...
What is it?
My brother...
I've never heard of this.
All right, I'll spill this right now. My brother married his old boss, okay?
And what's his name?
Her name is Lucy. That's actually her English name. I don't know what her Chinese name is, but she's Chinese. Oh. And apparently in Chinese culture, once you have existed 100 days on planet Earth, that is a massive celebration. And they just had their second kid, believe it or not, 100 days ago. So tomorrow is the 100 days celebration, which is what I have to go to in Mequon, which is roughly about an hour and 45-minute drive south of where I am.
This is your brother?
This is my brother's kid, yes.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I have to go down there.
I would send my brother like an email card. if that happened,
and just skip it.
I'd be like, hey man, congratulations on your kid living for 100 days, no SIDS. That's good.
SIDS.
Congratulations.
The problem with that whole thing is my wife and my 2 kids are already down there and expecting me to show up tomorrow. The only reason I'm not down there now is because I was doing this show tonight.
Oh, well, thank God you got the audio to work and your voice.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. We have just around the corner Brian McKinney, the 5th place team in the Football Guys Players Championship. One more thing I want to get to tonight, Dave.
We can run long since the show technically.
We'll run a little bit long.
10 minutes late.
I promise you we will run long
the daylight savings show.
Deshaun Jackson is apparently he's got the abdomen injury. Doug Peterson, his head coach, said he's optimistic that Jackson is actually going to play this week against the Bears, is according to Eagles beat writer Jeff McClain, who tweeted this out. Is it that bad? Is it that rough?
It's okay.
All right. Well, I'll just tell you right now.
Save you some
Deshaun Jackson has not played since week 2. It doesn't hurt. It's fine. Yeah. Deshaun Jackson has not played since week 2 of the season, and we'll find out what happens as the Eagles and Bears get ready to get it on. Obviously, you weren't playing Mac Hollins before. You shouldn't be. If you were,
you shouldn't be rostering him.
Yeah, you should be rostering him. But you look at Deshaun Jackson, Dave, against a foundering secondary, a foundering defense, really, in Chicago going forward here, a team that really has not lived up to expectations. Would you be willing to flex out Deshaun Jackson as maybe a top 30, top 40 receiver right away in his first game back, or is it still too early to do that?
I respect Chicago's defense. They're not the best. Pass secondary is not the best. But I probably would not play Deshaun Jackson. Abdomen injury, I mean, he's a field stretcher. He's still a 3 for 80 and a touchdown guy a lot of times.
Right.
I actually wouldn't mind playing Deshaun Jackson week 10, 11, or 12 if he plays well in 9, but I would not be interested in playing him now.
All right, so I understand what you're saying.
I'd like to shoot Zach Ertz as well, by the way. In general.
My co-host.
Take him out, put him out to passer, shoot him, whatever. I don't care.
My co-host, Leo Kuiper Jr. on the Appleton Trophy Fantasy Football Show, which you can hear locally on 95.3 and 99.1 FM, Appleton, Oshkosh, here in Northeast Wisconsin.
Not during drive time, though.
He has done, well, no, the Trophy Show you can hear during drive time.
Once a week only.
Yeah, once a week. Leo has been snake bit, and he traded for Zach Ertz, and he just is so disenchanted with what Ertz has done this year. You look at tight ends I'd rather be starting and having over Zach Ertz going forward. Obviously Kelsey, obviously Kittle, Darren Waller.
Sure, yeah, easy.
Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
I mean, like Evan Engram at this point. The list goes on.
Hunter Henry.
Oh, but that's another great one. Yeah, Hunter.
Henry's back. He's great.
Yeah. And, we'll see what happens, and I'm not willing to say this right now, but the way they're trending, look out for Jonnu Smith in Tennessee.
Yeah, Smith had a fantastic game last week. I know we were kind of like, going back and forth on how he was poor last year.
Right.
But it seems like he's finally come around, and that's great. I mean, he's always been a good athletic talent. So I think Smith, and they already ruled out Delaney Walker this week.
Right.
I think Smith's a really good spot.
Yeah, it's Jonnu Smith's season, and he's going to come up. I was in a year early on him last year, but it doesn't look like anybody who bought into him this year is a year early on him. Let's get into tonight's guest, Dave. I want to welcome him on right now. He's a longtime fantasy sports player, relatively new to the high-stakes space, on the high-stakes fantasy football world. He is in 5th place heading into Week 9 of the 2019 Football Guys Players Championship. He's here to drop some knowledge on us. Please welcome into the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour, Mr. Brian McKinney. Brian, welcome. Happy Friday, and thanks for joining the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on with you.
This is awesome to have you on, dude. I think if you look at the history of guests we've had on November or later, as this is our first November show of the season, the guests we have on in September and October, they tend not to do so well.
Those guys are posers.
You're right. But the teams we have on in November, December, Brian, this is all set up for you, my friend.
Yeah, now we have the good teams on.
Now I'm really feeling the pressure.
Yeah. By the way, I apologize for Balky sounding like Demi Moore a little bit tonight, but that's all right. Maybe it's kind of sexy.
There's this guy, on our local. I'm
gonna call you G.I. Jane the rest.
No, don't do that. Our local radio show, we have syndicated radio going on the overnights, the late nights and overnights, and it's SB Nation Radio, which a lot of people listening are probably familiar with, because a lot of people have the SB Nation Radio going on in their local sports talk stations. And there's this guy named Scott. Oh man,
Brian, we'll eventually answer.
No, we'll get into it in a little bit. Why can I not think of this guy's name? It's Scott. I can't think of what his last name is. but he talks like this all the time, and like a total grizzled sports talk voice. And every time I get sick at the station, they ask me to do this guy, and so I feel like that's what I'm doing
That's
tonight.
your voice?
So I'm not going to ask you in the Scott. I can't remember his last name. I can't even believe I'm escaping this right now. But Brian, when you're not dominating the Football Guys Players Championship, tell everybody.
This question.
I know it's terrible. Tell everybody what you're doing for a living.
Is it Scott for real that you were thinking about?
Yes. Thank you so much. That's who it is.
Brian knows. Advanced Sports Betting Man knows.
But you know, Scott Farrell. So
now you're getting interviewed by a celebrity, Scott Farrell or whatever.
Yeah. All right. So Brian, I'll go ahead and tell us when you're not doing so well in the Football Guys Players Championship. Tell us what you're doing for a living.
Yeah, that guy's voice has always tripped me out too. To get to your question, though, I make guitar pickups for electric guitars for a living.
Oh, that's awesome.
For anybody that knows electric guitars and how they work. But it's, I love music and really excited I was able to get into the music biz and be able to kind of contribute to it in that way. Been doing that for about 8 years, and it's been going really well. So looking forward to keeping that up for a while.
So, Scott, that's awesome to hear. Obviously, we know you're in tune with the music business. Is there a band or is there an artist out there right now that's maybe on the cusp? Somebody that.
What, are you going to sign them?
No, I'm not signing them. But somebody that you're listening to, somebody that's one of your favorites, somebody that's out there right now that maybe we don't know about that our listeners should be listening to right now. That's one of maybe your faves.
Yeah, we want to be cool.
Right.
If you're into the rock and roll kind of jam band scene, there's a new band called Goose. That's really turning some heads, and they're out of Connecticut, pretty young kids, but they've definitely got some good action going. If you listen to Fish and Panic, they're kind of along those lines, Widespread Panic. But yeah, just check them out, man. They're really doing some cool stuff.
That's cool. So do you sell? I mean, I'm very oblivious to what you do, but so do you sell directly to consumers, or do you sell? I mean, you have a website you can to promote it all, or not really?
We do sell to consumers and manufacturers as well, and it's Curtis Novak Classic Pickups.
Cool.
Definitely check us out on the website, social media. We're all over it. And, if you got any needs, we do quite a variety of pickups, bass and guitar. Check us out if you're ever in need.
Oh, that's really cool.
GooseTheBand.com is where to check out Brian's selection of the band that you should be looking at right now. But as far as fantasy football and the selections that Brian has made so far, Dave, we have a question about that.
So what place is he in right now? He's in
fifth overall, heading into Week 9
of all those teams
of the FPC, 8,400 teams.
So how is it? Just tell us the experience a little bit, because you're not kind of used to this. How has it been for you? You know, you look at your team and you're like, damn, you're in single digit, place. How has it been for you being so highly ranked throughout this competition as we get into the later weeks here?
It's been pretty crazy. The first couple of weeks, I'm not sure where I was at. But I remember checking a couple of times, and it didn't really seem like I was that high up in the standings. But then noticed a couple of weeks ago that I was starting to climb up a little bit, and the team was starting to click. So it's been pretty exciting. Been a little nerve-wracking. Just kind of trying to be cool about it and let it ride out and see where I can get with it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Go ahead, Brian.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, last year was the first year I played on the website, which I love, by the way. It's y'all got a really cool website there, man. It's a lot of fun stuff going on. And I played in a couple of best ball leagues, and I think a classic league too, just trying to get my feet under me and get a feel for it, which I highly recommend. It's just to get familiar with the website and the way things are set up and the scoring and everything. Learned a lot from the best ball. Won one of those, and I think won the Classic League, and rolled that over into entries into the FPC this year. So that was kind of what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure if it would happen that way, but it did, so I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you could turn out like $35 into $250,000 possibly.
Well, we always heard the story. We've had them on the show before, Dave. The name's escaping me right now, but the guys from Philly who took the draft street entry into a Football Guys entry,
Right.
into a main event entry, won the whole thing.
Yeah, that's
Reither, Joseph Reither,
yeah.
won the whole thing a couple years ago. So it can be done.
It can be done. It has been done.
You know, starting off with, you know, like a $35 DE, a $35 classic, and we'll see if Brian McKinney can get it done this year in 2019. No question, you are on your way. So let's talk about, you know, we kind of know that the main players as we're now in November of when you draft, you know, certain players at certain spots, you are going to be well off. You have a lot of those main players. Let's talk about free agency. Chris Conley was a guy that you added for a modest $51 price this past week in your FPC team that's in 5th place. What are your expectations for him going forward in Jacksonville, especially when you consider D.D. Westbrook looks like he may not be able to give it a go, and you saw the long touchdown, the big play that Chris Conley put up in Week 8 for the Jaguars?
Yeah, I feel like my team's a little weak at wide receiver, so I've been trying to, you know, scratch and dig to find anything out there that might be, you know, rosterable. And there isn't much out there, so when there has been some people pop up, and Conley's one of those, kind of took a shot at it, put in a pretty low bid comparatively to what some guys have been going for, but it works out for me. But yeah, he's averaging almost 20 yards a catch. You know, Minshew's been lighting it up pretty good as a quarterback for that team. And with Westbrook possibly being out, I think he's still questionable, but, you know, he could have a decent game this week. And I may or may not be starting him, kind of seeing how the chips fall, especially with T.Y. Hilton being out. And I've got Zach Pascal sitting on my bench, too, that he might be somebody that I would put in a flex spot.
Dave, we're going to get into we can get into Hilton a little bit right now. You know, he's officially out for this coming week. Do you like Zach Pascal going forward as the Colts' #1 receiver, or is this more of a wait-and-see situation for you?
You know, I can't. Yeah, go ahead. Let us know, Brian. What do you think?
I was going to say it's probably a wait and see. I mean, obviously there could be some volume there, but he's also going to be drawing, you know, the #1 cover guy. Most of those games, I would imagine, and they were saying Hilton could be out as many as 4 weeks. Right. So I'm not sure how comfortable I'll be starting this week against the Pittsburgh defense that's playing pretty well right now. So yeah, I would probably classify him as a wait and see guy.
Well, kind of to go along with that, it kind of brings us to our next question. You have Kenny Stills on your team. You know, Will Fuller is perpetually injured. QT was a guy that a lot of people, you know, felt might be coming out this year and having a decent season. He's been terrible, hurt also. So you have Kenny Stills, like the last man standing other than Hopkins, of course. Are you considering, what do you think? You have Stills, you're looking at Pascal. I mean, you have Conley. What are you thinking about Stills here?
I've always liked Kenny Stills. He's not necessarily a consistent guy, but I mean, the weeks that he hits pretty good. The Jags are giving a lot, you know, some big pass plays up. I think they're, you know, up towards the top of 20-plus yard pass plays given up. So I'm definitely thinking about playing him. I know the London games can be a little weird, so also taking that in consideration. But, yeah, I mean, as far as a flex this week, it'd probably be one of those receivers or maybe even Jamal Williams and doubling up with him and Aaron Jones, which I don't usually like to do. But against the Chargers, I think it could be worthwhile.
You know, that new stadium in London is pretty awesome.
Is it new? I didn't realize this. Is this the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that they're playing at?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I actually enjoy watching those games.
We were talking about, again, not to keep bringing up my local show, but we're talking about the stadium that the Chargers play at against the Packers this weekend. Do you know what the capacity is for that stadium in LA right now?
52,000.
27,000.
Holy crap!
27.
Yeah.
It's a tiny, tiny stadium. Allegedly, 70% of the tickets sold this weekend have gone to Green Bay fans. We'll see what happens.
Are you serious?
70%. Yeah. Well, you remember the Chargers. And Brian, maybe you remember this from a couple of weeks ago, that Chargers-Steelers Sunday night game. The Chargers were ticked off because they were playing the Steelers like fan anthem, in the fourth quarter, and it was like a home game for the Steelers there. Yeah. It was very frustrating for those. I remember Melvin Gordon spoke out about it. several Chargers spoke out about it. Could be another home game for the Packers.
You know what? I'm glad we're talking about this. I'm going to ask Brian a personal starter sick question.
Go ahead,
I
absolutely.
don't give a crap. I'm interrupting the show.
No,
with my
that's
own personal
good.
Stuff. So Brian, I have to choose between starting Phillip Rivers quasi at home against the Packers, or the Hall of Fame GOAT Tom Brady.
You say Gardner Minshew.
No, not piece of crap Minshew, Brady.
He's not a piece of crap.
At Baltimore. What do you think? Am I starting GOAT or am I starting, oh golly, Phillip Rivers? I can't win more than 3 games out of the first 8.
Brady or Rivers, what do you say, Brian?
2 road games.
That Chargers offense is not hard to have a lot of faith in that right now. They seem to be struggling for some reason, even given all the pieces they have to play with there. It's hard to put any faith in Rivers at this moment. I might have to go with the GOAT there.
So I should go with the winner.
Yeah, that's
what
I would do.
I think I'm going with Brady.
For whatever. So
I thought that's what I was going to do. But
okay,
I just want to make
as
sure.
long as you're hijacking the show, Dave, I'm going to hijack the show. Brian, I have this decision I have to make, also at quarterback, also involving Tom Brady in 3 of my leagues this week. I can either play Tom Brady under the primetime lights at Baltimore on Sunday night, or the other option I have right now is Josh Allen, who is at home against the lowly Washington Redskins. Which one are you playing, Allen or Tom Brady?
Ooh, I would probably lean towards Josh Allen there. He's pretty good and could definitely put up some points against Washington.
That's for all 3 leagues. That's who I have in right now is Allen over Brady, and I keep waiting for something to motivate me to put Brady in right now. And I keep thinking about these games where it's like the Sony Michel, the James White, the Rex Burkhead show, or what have you, and Brady ends up throwing for like 200 yards and like a touchdown, and that's it. Whereas Josh Allen could throw for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then run for another 40 and another touchdown.
Well, one thing to keep in mind is that the Buffalo-Washington game, the over-under is 36.5.
Super low.
It's Buffalo
super
minus
low.
10.5.
Yeah.
So if Josh Allen isn't running and he's not throwing for a few touchdowns in the first half, it could be one of those, 17-7 games.
Right.
If that's an under, it's a 17-7 game with 2 touchdowns, and he maybe doesn't do crap.
Right, but I also see him doing that in the first half too. That's the issue.
We'll see.
That's the issue. We'll see what happens with that.
That'll be fun.
But that is a good point with that total with Josh Allen. Having it's quote unquote limited ceiling in that game. And Brady, honestly, that could, David, you could probably look this up, the total on that Sunday night game between the Patriots and Ravens. But it's probably not 50. But I bet it's above 45, and I bet it's approaching 50 right now.
44.5, and the Patriots are 3-point favorites. The one thing I'll say, the Patriots defense is great, 7-0, they're killing it, but they've been playing terrible quarterbacks. So finally, they're going to get a test against Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So, I think that's one thing to consider, that I think they might actually be tested for once.
Well, and by the way, we're talking with Brian McKinney, the 5th place overall team in the Football Guys Players Championship. Brian, this leads us into our next question, because you have been the beneficiary of the Patriots defense for a long time on your team this year. You actually have them on your bench in this league this week in favor of the New York Jets, who still have Jamal Adams, who don't have Leonard Williams, but they still have Adams, and they're going to Miami to play this week.
The ultimate tank job.
You have the Jets in. That's a great team name, by the way. The Jets are in over the Patriots defense. Have you made up your mind officially on this? It's going to be the Jets over New England, or might you still revisit this and put the Patriots in your starting lineup?
I did revisit it today and put the Pats in and probably stick with that, but I'm just going to feel it out, till Sunday rolls around. But you made a good point. The Pats haven't really played. This is their first game, against anybody that's shown any kind of offense. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But if it's, Belichick does his usual thing, which is try to eliminate a team's best player, that would obviously be Lamar Jackson. So if they can control him, which I'm thinking maybe they're going to put a spy on him to try to negate his production, they could probably, handle it pretty well. But, his legs are what is hard to contain. When that guy steps out of the pocket, he can accelerate quickly. So it could be trouble for him. But, yeah, I just started thinking more about the Jets, and it seemed good. I picked them up in a couple of leagues to see how they're going to do, because their schedule the rest of the season, it looks really easy. But they're still having some issues there. but I'm not so sure that the Dolphins couldn't win that game maybe. So that kind of puts me on edge too.
I think the Jets, if I recall correctly, I looked this up. I think today. I think that they play at home against the Dolphins in a playoff, like week 15 or 16.
It is, because if you I was talking about this actually on my local fantasy football show.
Screw your local show.
No, listen, the schedule for Sam Darnold, not that
week 14 at home against the Dolphins.
Not that you would be playing him as your starting quarterback, but if you are in any an FFPC Superflex league or any 2 QB leagues, the schedule for Sam Darnold going forward is really, really good, and as a result, the schedule for the Jets going forward is really, really good as well as we look forward to that. But I think that you make a good point there, and we'll see what happens, because I don't think this is an easy decision. There might be a lot of teams out there that both have the Patriots defense and the Jets defense that are going to have to make a decision this week, maybe to even make the playoffs in their leagues. This could decide it. We'll see what happens, but that's good knowledge there, no question. Dave, let's move on to a team that's after my own heart, the Green Bay Football Packers.
So apparently you have Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams on your team, and they've both been doing really pretty well. Jones has been doing spectacular most of the season. Are you considering starting both of them this week, possibly?
Based on the matchup, I'm considering it in that second flex spot. Williams with those other receivers, it's going to be one of those guys. And if from what I'm seeing, it kind of everybody's expecting the Packers to kind of blow out the Chargers. It could be a lot of running production. They're kind of splitting carries evenly right now, so it could pay off to start them both. And they're both playing really well. I mean, Aaron Jones, he's had some incredible games, obviously. Jamal Williams has been more of just a consistent kind of guy the last few weeks, but definitely somebody I feel like you could probably put in a flex and come out pretty good on it.
I mean, I really look at it like ever since Davante Adams went down, there's just such a lack of skill at the receiver positions. MVS is getting 2, 3, 2, and 4 targets or something to that effect. Yeah,
to his credit, he's been dinged up a little bit too.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I could care less from my perspective if I own Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams.
Yep.
Jimmy Graham is washed up, and the rest of the receivers, I mean, they're garbage. I mean, they're just not
hit and miss.
Yeah, they're just no good. So you really have to look at the talent, and the talent is at running back, and I think that it makes a lot of sense to actually look at starting both of those guys.
Dave, you and I were talking about this before the show started tonight. The target share for every team in the NFL, all 31 teams except for the Packers, is being led in target share by either a wide receiver or a tight end. Not so in Green Bay. Aaron Jones, 14% of the target share so far. This is just over 14% of the target share so far in Green Bay. Now, obviously, a lot of that goes into Davante Adams being out. When he comes back, you got to assume he's going to be a big part of the game plan. And I do believe he will be back this coming week. And we're going to talk about Davante Adams here with you in a little bit, Brian. But before we get to that, I'm curious, as we are now past the halfway point of the bye season, a lot of the buys behind a lot of fantasy owners out there right now as we look to close out that portion of the season. Are you managing your roster as far as the waiver wire goes any differently? In other words, are you maybe just loading up on potential great handcuffs at running back? Are you cutting down to maybe one quarterback, one tight end, one defense, one kicker, anything like that? How has this changed, if at all? Maybe it hasn't changed. Are you managing your waiver wire going forward in the FPC?
How much money do you have left?
I would say I haven't made any changes to this point. And the waiver wire has been, a tricky thing to figure out, because if you look at some of the FAB reports and see the bids that people are putting in for certain players, I mean, they're shooting for the sky. I've tried to play it, a little more traditional and not overpaying for any guys. I think I picked up J.D. McKissick, where a lot of people were going for Ty Johnson. And I think maybe the guy that picked up Ty Johnson got him for like $500 or something, which is I would never feel comfortable paying that much for somebody who was an unproven product. I was really happy that the guy dropped Tony Pollard a couple of weeks ago, and I was able to get him pretty cheap as a handcuff to Zeke.
Nice.
Definitely feel comfortable about having him locked up in case something happens there. And the same way with, Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. If one of those guys goes down, obviously, their production should see an uptick even from where it's at right now. So, yeah, handcuff the best I could, try to get as much steps. I am carrying 3 quarterbacks. I've got Russell Wilson, who I've loved this year. He's been doing great. Jacoby Brissett's been doing great. Kyler Murray's been a little bit up and down, and I can probably see letting him go, but at the same time, it might be a defensive move to keep him. I hadn't really looked to see how other people are doing at the quarterback position yet. But I'd say going forward, I think I got like $450 left, which is maybe the 5th most anybody has. There's a lot of guys that have used up most of their fab budget so far, so I want to be able to, have some money there if something does happen, a player becomes available that would definitely be a game changer the rest of the season. And if not, I'll just, keep picking up the guys I need as I need them, try to do a little forward thinking of situational issues that could come up, but just try to go in with the best team I can into these playoffs and hope for the best.
Well, Brian, you go ahead, Dave. You got a question or a point?
Go ahead. You're fine. I'll ask him something else. Somebody else.
Well, the only thing I was going to say, we're talking about Kyler Murray. I didn't realize this. I actually just read a story on ESPN.com today. We all know he was a first-round pick in Major League Baseball. We know he was the first overall pick in the NFL draft. Do you know what else he excels in, Dave? Besides football and baseball.
Skeet shooting?
He is an excellent chess player.
Oh, is he really?
I guess he crushed his high school chess club, did very, very well there. I had no idea. But so that's got to, be
Plus
good.
He's a lookalike for Tweety
For
Bird.
Tweety Bird, yeah, exactly. Yeah, no question.
One of my favorite tweets from Lance of all time.
Yeah, that is a good one. Hey, we got a phone call here real quick. We're going to take. You are on the air with Brian McKinney, Dave Gerzak, and Eric Balkman here on the HSFFR. Let's go to the 484. Who are we talking to?
Hey, how you doing? This is Tony.
Tony, what's going on, man?
Not much. How you doing?
Doing
quick
good.
Question for you. I know that you got a big game coming up here with the Birds playing the Bears. So my question is, if Carson Wentz wrestled a bear, who would win?
Tony, thanks for the phone call. I appreciate that. That's
bad.
good stuff there. If Carson Wentz wrestled a bear, now my voice.
It's a black bear.
No, hold on. My voice isn't good, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. If Carson Wentz wrestled a bear, and the bear was named Ditka, who would win, Carson Wentz or Ditka the bear? So I think you look at this from the perspective of, okay, yeah, this is a tough defense, but Carson Wentz, can he do no wrong?
I don't think he's incapable of not doing wrong, but I think he'd have to take Carson Wentz losing to the Bear 777-7.
Nice.
That's good stuff right there. I appreciate that, Brian. Good on you. I would like to keep this on the NFC North tip here, Dave, because this is a question that's weighing on a lot of fantasy minds this week, given that it's a late game and given the talent of the guy we're talking about.
Yeah, so I'm going to have 2 questions. One is the primary one. Should fantasy owners be nervous about starting Davante Adams in his first game back in a late game if he is active this week? Lots of ifs and buts there.
Right.
And then after that, I know you just mentioned, I just want you to run through your starting lineup. So, I mean, it's good for our listeners to know who you actually have going on a general basis all week. So it's like you have Russell Wilson, Zeke Elliott, Aaron Jones, you have Jamal Williams, you have the New England defense. So maybe you walk through your receivers and tight ends after you tell us about Davante Adams a little bit.
You want to believe that teams are going to be smart with their players, and that they wouldn't put him out there and possibly risking losing him for more time. And those turf toe injuries can be a pain in the butt. It's hard to come back from those fully, or play on them unless you come back fully, rather. But I want to believe that they're, willing to put him out there, that he's good to go. Last I heard, I think yesterday or today, they said they'd make that decision about, an hour and a half before game time. So that tells me that they're not fully comfortable yet with where he's at, and may, not take the chance to put him back out there. Again, if, the Chargers, they could possibly, get by without him. If they could get one of those other receivers to step up consistently, which they haven't been able to yet, that would obviously probably make them feel better about not playing Adams. But from a fantasy perspective, if they put him out there, I guess you got to play him and hope for the best. Because you definitely don't want to keep him on your bench and then watch him blow up against the Chargers.
I will tell you.
So
go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to say that's probably the best advice I could offer on that is just try to trust the team. If they put him out there, then he's probably startable.
All right, so then back to receivers. Can you just tell us who your receivers are? I know we talked about some of the kind of the bye week guys a little bit, and then your tight end who you normally are starting, and your kicker. Actually, I'm kind of interested in that one.
So kicker picked up Joey Sly, but early in the season, I think, because he was obviously started off hot, and just kind of been riding him, which has been working out so far. On
a points per game basis. Sorry to interrupt you. Points per game basis, Joey Sly is number 2.
Wow.
Behind Justin Tucker. He's at 11.1 point a week. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I don't think he was drafted by very many teams either that in the drafts I saw, I think a couple of people picked him up, but he seemed like more of a waiver wire addition, after he started producing. Darren Waller, I drafted earlier than I would like to, but in that draft and under the format with the tight ends getting 1.5 points per catch, was really excited about him. My good buddy Howard Bender over at Fantasy Alarm had been hyping him up, all through the off season, and took his advice on that one, and definitely it's been paying off. The dude's been incredible. He's getting targets all over the place. It took him a little while to score, but that's when you're still getting the yardage and the catches, you can not complain too much about it. But yeah, it's receiver where I felt like if I've got a weakness on the team, which I do, it's at receiver. Mike Evans has been doing pretty good. DJ Moore, not as strong as I'd like to see. But after that, it's kind of thin. It's Zach Pascal and now Conley and Kenny Stills. So those are definitely flex guys and not guys that I would feel comfortable starting on a week-to-week basis. But hopefully, it can fill some gaps here and there with the bye weeks and everything. And just basically, I'm hoping that Evans and DJ Moore can keep producing at least at the level they're at, if not a little bit better, going through the rest of the season.
I feel like Moore really has not produced to the level that he's probably capable of, and I feel like he really could actually do better, even with Kyle Allen, seemingly the guy that's going to be around for possibly the rest of the season.
It's looking that way right now with the news on Cam Newton. We actually have an email for Brian coming up regarding that exact thing. So we're going to get to that in a second. I do want to reiterate something that was posted in the chat room from Sports Betting Man, talking about Davante Adams caught on tape leapfrogging over one of the coaches at Packers practice today. You don't leapfrog somebody with a turf toe and have it be unhealthy. So I think we are looking for Davante Adams to return this week. Dave and I are about 2 Aaron Rodgers throws southwest of Lambeau Field here where we're doing the program. And I'll tell you, I don't know about Dave, but I have Davante Adams in 2 leagues. Sunday morning, I am going to insert Davante Adams in both those leagues, and we'll see what happens with the news we get in, prior to him going on Sunday night. I do believe he's going to be playing. I do believe he's going to be big for the Packers that night, and it's going to take something significant on Sunday morning for me to sit Davante Adams at Week 9 because I do believe he is going to be back. Let's get into a couple of emails for you, Brian, that came in for listeners over the course of the week. This is from Al in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. Going to the point I just brought up with Dave, he writes, "Hey, Brian, I'm not sure what is going on with Curtis Samuel right now, so what would you do with him and DJ Moore in your lineups this week? Good luck in the FPC, dude." That is Al in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. Thanks for the email. Al, talked about DJ Moore and talked about Curtis Samuel. Are you nervous about Samuel not going? And if he doesn't go, does that mean a big Week 9 for DJ Moore, Brian?
You hope so.
Yeah, you definitely hope so. Curtis Samuel has not really been doing much this year. I think he's probably disappointed a lot of people because, if I remember correctly, he was getting a lot of hype preseason that he could be as productive, if not more, than DJ Moore. So it's been a little disappointing not to see him. I don't think I have any shares of Curtis Samuel, but I do have some shares of DJ Moore, and he's just one of those guys with you have to put him out there and start him every week. And he's only had a couple of bad weeks, and one of those came against San Francisco, and he still put up 8 points, I think, which is, pretty good for a receiver against San Fran. But as far as Samuel, if you've got better options, I would definitely explore them. And as far as DJ Moore, just keep putting him out there. And if he is, the main guy on the field this week with no Samuel, I would like to think that it would add more to his production. We'll just have to see how that goes and hope for the best.
Talking with Brian McKinney, the fifth-place team in the Football Guys Players Championship heading into Week 9. Let's go to Chris in Boston. He writes, "What's up, Brian? With the Falcons seemingly already looking to 2020, are you nervous about reduced playing time or an early IR for a non-serious injury for either Julio Jones or Devontae Freeman?" That is Chris in Boston. Both Julio Jones and Devontae Freeman under contract with the Falcons for the next several years.
What was the question again?
Whether the fact that
I
they're
know it's not for me, but I like to listen to the show.
The fact that they're 1-6 right now, looking forward to 2020, trading Mohamed Sanu, whether you could be looking for an early shutdown for either Julio Jones or Devontae Freeman going forward. Brian, what do you think about that? Is that a possibility, or are we kind of jumping gun on that a little bit?
I can see where they're coming from with that, but I'm not sure that's something, the Falcons would do. It wouldn't be the dumbest thing ever to protect, the best players on your team. But at the same time, how do you, explain that to your fan base, which at the same time, as much trouble as they're having getting, people in the seats at that stadium, which doesn't make any sense to me at all. You'd think that they would want to put the best product out there that they could. And I wouldn't see, barring some kind of injury, if one of them did get dinged up a little bit, then maybe they would think harder about it than they normally would. But other than that, I would be surprised if they shut them down.
Dave, you agree with that with in regards to Freeman and Jones?
Yeah, I mean, they're paying these guys big money. It's an entertainment business. I mean, you have to go out and entertain. I mean, you're making millions and millions of dollars, so do your job.
Right.
I mean, well, even if you suck.
Listen, I don't fault Julio Jones or Devontae Freeman. If they put them out there, those guys are going to ball out as best they can. It's just a question of Thomas Dimitroff wants to put those guys out there in harm's way for a lost season, and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, Julio. I wonder if he's going to get one of his hamstring pulls during the fantasy playoffs.
That's my point.
Typical Julio hamstring injury.
I'm going to read the.
Let me tell you, Brian, it really pisses me off as a dynasty owner of Julio Jones. Let me tell you how much it annoys me.
Chris in Boston phrased it in his email. Are you nervous about reduced playing time or an early IR for a non-serious injury to either Julio Jones or Devontae Freeman? So we've seen that before. Maybe we'll see it again.
Brian's McKinney. That's an Irish name. Does he live in South Boston?
Yeah,
are you Southie?
Brian, you're a Carolina guy, right?
Yeah, I live in North Carolina.
All right. You're Irish, I assume. Do you celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Like sing No Nay Never?
I'm not Irish. I celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
I love St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm Scotch-Irish, so I got the best of both worlds there. So
this is
definitely,
lucky you.
Definitely celebrate the St. Patty's Day. Sometimes a little bit too much, but it comes in the bloodline.
That's great.
You get the wee heavy Scotch ales, you get the Imperial Stouts, and the Jameson whiskeys.
Potato soup.
And potato soup all rolled into one.
Irish people, since they're white, you can't be racist against Irish people.
I don't want to get into
whatever
that.
You want.
There is an Irish bar here locally in Northeast Wisconsin on St. Patrick's Day. They open up early. They serve a traditional Irish breakfast.
What, Flanagan's?
No, it's why can't I think of the name of it? It's right off College Avenue. It used to be Trimby's. Why I can't?
I'm not the alcoholic like you and your friends are.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But but they serve a traditional Irish breakfast, which is like you get the black pudding, you get the grilled tomatoes, you get the hash browns, the bacon, the
gross,
sausage.
Brian.
No, it's good stuff.
Disgusting.
And then they'll serve it with like a Guinness.
And I think I'm Irish. 23andMe says I might be Irish.
Oh, there you go. So listen, this St. Patrick's Day, you and I are going to go out. We're going to check this out.
I'm not going to have whatever pudding.
I'll eat the black pudding. I like black pudding. I've had it before. It's delicious stuff.
Do we have more emails?
You would like it too. No, we don't have any more emails, but you have one.
It tastes like pudding?
No, it's like a.
Brian, have you had black pudding?
Have you ever had black pudding, Brian?
I have tried it. Was not a fan.
I'm part Norwegian. I've had lutefisk and lefse, and that's the worst shit ever.
There's no
awful.
fish. It's not a fish flavor.
It's like digesting cardboard and gelatin.
I don't mind lutefisk. The smell of it is it's a little soapy, but I don't mind the taste of it.
Anyway, final question.
Go ahead.
This is probably the worst Brian, if you ever have another interview, it'll be better.
It'll be better than this one.
Can you give us a player that a lot of FFPC players will be starting, but you think are stupid to be starting that player, and they should be benching him instead, as well as a sleeper that is obvious to you but may not be obvious to them to be starting?
I would be far-fetched to call anybody stupid for any decision they made.
That was my question. Don't worry
about it. The Chiefs running backs. I'm not sure how you handle that right now because it's just kind of a mess back there. Nobody's really establishing themselves, and Andy Reid's not really trying to establish either one of them. It doesn't seem like. He seems pretty attached to keep using McCoy, but it's just nobody's able to generate a lot of offense from either of those guys. So it'd be hard, unless you didn't have any better options to put somebody like that out there that you're just not sure what you're going to get out of them week to week based on the usage. As far as the sleeper, you mentioned Jonnu Smith earlier. I don't know how much of a sleeper he is anymore, but he was definitely somebody, especially in best ball leagues, that if tight ends were getting off the board, that I drafted Delaney Walker, but made sure that I handcuffed him with Jonnu Smith for this exact, situation, thinking, Delaney's got an injury history. Jonnu showed some flashes last year. He's definitely got some talent, and he seems to have a connection, with the quarterback there. So that would be somebody I'd probably, don't know if he qualifies as a sleeper, but, somebody that I would put on that list.
Jonnu Smith, Balky.
Yeah, I'm down with Jonnu Smith, no question. I think he's a good start this week for sure. Actually, I think I am playing him in one league too, where I had Delaney Walker and I had Jonnu Smith, one of my dynasties. So I'm rolling out Jonnu Smith. Expect big things from him. I also expect big things from our guest tonight, Brian Skinny McKinney, I should say, joining us here on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour tonight. 5th place in the Football Guys Players Championship, heading into Week 9. Playoffs are on the horizon. Hopefully, a $250,000 grand prize is on the horizon for you, my friend. Appreciate you joining us tonight. Good luck in all of your leagues this year, and thanks so much for hopping on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Really enjoyed it, and again, love the website. Looking forward to playing on that for years to come, and love what you guys are doing over there. So keep it up.
Thanks, Brian. We're doing a whole redesign coming up in the next 2 months.
Is this breaking news? Have we shared this on the HSFF Hour before?
I don't know. We're paying one guy a lot of money to make it look better, so I don't know what you call that.
All right, Brian. So hopefully, when this is redone,
hey man, make it look good.
Yeah, when it's redone, hopefully you will still like it just as much as you did before.
Your login won't work or anything anymore. But
no,
okay.
Don't. Yeah, come on. Brian, thanks so much for your patronage. Thanks so much for the kind words. Good luck in 2019, dude.
You too, man. Have a great night.
Brian McKinney, 5th place in the Football Guys Players Championship.
Play looks great. Can't log in. Sorry.
Black pudding, Dave, is a type of blood sausage.
Oh, Jesus. That's so nasty.
It's from the UK and Ireland, obviously. It's made from pork blood, pork fat, beef suet, whatever that is.
Sewage?
Suet, S-U-E-T.
So I was mentioning in the chat that I like German food beyond the obviously better choices, which are Italian and Mexican food. Have you gone? My family and I go to Mark's East Side a lot.
Sure.
That's this Germanish type place. They have whatever. Have you been there ever?
The last time I was there was when I was dating a girl who was a senior in high school the year after I graduated, and we went there for prior to homecoming for dinner. Yeah. That was the last time I was there.
It's number one on TripAdvisor in the Appleton area, which doesn't mean much to anyone who lives in a real city like everyone else.
My buddy Leo, that I do the show with in the afternoons, loves that place. Goes there about once a month. Yeah.
So our family goes there once a while on Fridays. We got there once at 4:40.
And it was packed.
And we couldn't even get a table. Because all these drunks are going there getting their old fashions for early.
And they're getting drunk. They do make stiff old. Now I've only been
stiff and huge.
Right. That's what I was going to say. So I've only been there to eat since when I was 19 years old.
It's not Lance or any of these guys.
But I have gone there for cocktails in the past.
If I want to come and hang out in Appleton, we'll take you to Mark's East Side.
We'll go to Mark's East Side.
Have the sausage sampler.
Right.
all the other crap.
I've gone there for cocktails several times since then, and the old fashions are not, as you just pointed out, they're
great.
Bill Brasky sized cocktails.
They're massive.
And they are stiff.
Oh, they're great.
They are stiffer than a giant sequoia in the deep woods of California.
All right, hey, I'm going to give you a mystery player for you tonight.
So anyway, black pudding. So I already said blood sausage, pork blood, and it's also there's a cereal rolled into that, usually oatmeal, oat groats, or barley groats. There's a high propensity of cereal in that. It's really good. It sounds gross. It is really good. Go ahead and give me your mystery player.
All right. The number one kicker right now in fantasy
Sure.
is Greg the Legs Zerline.
All right.
Do you want to take a guess? This is not including, this is points. This is total points for the season so far. So if you had your bye week, too bad.
Okay.
The number 2 kicker in fantasy right now.
How many guesses do I get?
You have 3.
Matt Prater.
No.
Joey Sly.
No. He had a bye week. Think of a team. All right. I'll give you
Steven
one.
Hauschka.
All right. Stop with the guesses. Let me give you one more guess.
Mike Nugent.
This team can move the ball quite a bit.
Okay.
But they can't score touchdowns.
All right.
They move around.
Interesting.
Yeah. Kind of a new organization.
Robbie Gould.
The kicker consistently gets ranked in the teens by all the dipshits and pundits out there.
Okay.
Somehow they don't think that this team that moves the ball all the time into the red zone, but somehow can't throw nor run in touchdowns. Dan Bailey. Nope.
Brett Maher.
Nope.
Jason Myers.
Sports betting man either thinks the question is gay or he thinks that Matt Gay might be the
Matt
answer.
Gay. Is it Matt Gay?
No, it's not Matt Gay.
Will Lutz.
No, it's let me give you a nationality.
Give me the conference.
Let me give you the nationality. I was talking about one of the nationalities is a type of food I just mentioned that's better than German.
It's better.
So it's either
Zane Gonzalez.
Yes, Zane Gonzalez is the number 2 kicker.
I love my Mexican food.
Yeah, and he. I don't even. For all I know, he could be white. I don't know. But I mean, nevertheless, Zane Gonzalez, he's the number 2 kicker.
Sure.
So granted, Joey Sly averages more points per game. He had a bye week and whatever. But he's been doing great. And the reason is that the Cardinals consistently don't score touchdowns. Now, last night, they actually, surprisingly, Gonzalez didn't have a great game, which isn't surprising against San Fran, but he did kick a 30-some-yard field goal late, so he had a 5.6. But I really think that rostering Zane Gonzalez makes a lot of sense for the rest of the season because they consistently move the ball, but they don't tend to score a ton of touchdowns. Let's get it. For one player.
Right.
A great one.
Right. And we're going to get into this. You segued into this. Do you want to do the world's tiniest victory lap on Andy Isabella after his massive one target,
4
one
minutes
touchdown?
and 58 seconds left
right.
in the game yesterday.
That's right.
Cliff Kingsbury decided to put Isabella in there. And what do you know? He caught a 20-yard pass that turned into an 88-yard touchdown. Vindication.
Right.
I mean, serious question, though.
Sure.
And some people, actually, what's funny is in the Pirate Swag League, and we had talked about this off air, he got cut this past week. I have $76 betting left out of 200. I'm going to bid about 70-something to get him. I own him in a lot of leagues. I still love him. What would you pay to get Isabella in Dynasty? This is for the chat room also. And what would you sell Isabella for? Same thing, buy, sell.
I would pay a 3rd rounder. I would give up a 2nd rounder. I would pay a 3rd rounder, and if you were going to give me a 2nd rounder, I would do that.
So if you had Isabella and I offered you any random second, you would take it?
Yeah, I would do that.
Wow.
Yeah, you can have him for that.
I wish. Do you own him anywhere?
No, I just cut him in my last league. I held out on him. I just cut him this past Wednesday.
I think it's a mistake.
It probably was, but you know what? It was one of those things where I needed somebody, and I was sick of waiting.
I would sell him for a random first 2020 first.
You are.
But I mean, I would honestly, if it was guaranteed to be like the league champ.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would sell him.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am getting.
He's still going to be good.
I am getting in a space shuttle right now. I am flying to outer space. And I'm going to outstretch my arms as far as they reach, and I'm going to grab onto Dave Gerzak's ankle, and I'm going to pull him back down to planet Earth, where you and I are all living on, and make him understand that he is not going to get any first-round dynasty pick for Andy Isabella now.
I'm not trying to. The thing is, I'm not trying to sell him. Here's the thing.
So you would pay a first round for him?
I would pay a late first, but here's what I
wish I had him.
Just listen. I will offer a second. I mean, every league I don't have him. I'm going to offer a second, and I'm going to get it turned down by everybody.
Right, you will.
But I will offer it.
Okay, let's.
Lance said he cut him everywhere in redraft, which is smart, and he added him in Dynasty.
Okay, well, good luck to you guys. I certainly I want nothing but the best for you.
Isabella, he's of the nationality of the other food type I like. The Italian, yeah, right.
Oh, the mozzarella.
And Germans don't play in the NFL.
So. What about Moritz Baringer?
Yeah,
Remember
he
that
never
guy?
played. He sucked.
Oh, that's true. He did. Yeah, he never played. All right, let's get the emails here real quick. We got to fly through this. Adam in Salina, Kansas. What are you guys doing with Josh Gordon and your redraft and dinos? Thanks much. Appreciate the email, Adam in Salina, Kansas. Josh Gordon, we found out shortly before we went on the air tonight that the Seattle Seahawks do indeed own his rights. They claimed him off waivers after 27, count them, 27 teams passed on putting in a claim for Josh Gordon. The Seahawks did not. He is now a Seattle Seahawk. Dave, what are you doing with him in Dynasty and redraft?
Dynasty, I'm holding.
Okay.
In a depressing last man on the roster move. It's so annoying.
Right.
Redraft, I'm adding him on a spec move, or I'm keeping him.
Okay.
So we'll see.
I do.
It's a low volume pass offense, but he could become the red zone guy. Who knows?
I do a radio spot for a radio station on the western side of Wisconsin every single Thursday, and I was asked this question last week when he was already on IR, and I said, I'm glad I don't own him because I wouldn't want to know if I should cut him or not, and I sure wouldn't want to know if I should roster him. Well, you know what? I put a bunch of bids in, and I won him in a lot of spots, both in redraft and Dynasty.
What'd you pay about
week.
on average?
In the Dynasty leagues, it was the upper 100s. I think I got him for like $2-something in one of my Dynasty leagues. The other ones was all less than $30 for redraft. Okay?
For Dynasty?
For Dynasty, it was the upper ones, lower twos. For redraft, it was less than 30.
So you're okay. Do
you understand?
Yeah, I'm curious that you're Dynasty, you're adding Josh Gordon and cutting Isabella. I think that's a classic.
That was two separate, two totally separate things.
Great.
Gordon, the league that I cut Isabella in, Gordon was already taken.
All right.
So I didn't have the opportunity. All right. So that's what I'm looking at right now. And as far as Gordon goes, as soon as he makes any plays for Seattle, I am sending him out for a second-round pick.
No one's paying.
Somebody will give me a second-round pick for Josh Gordon after he has a big game with Seattle. Yes, they will.
What do you think the odds are better that Josh Gordon scores 5 touchdowns or gets banned for a failed?
Ooh, that's good.
What do you guys think? 5 touchdowns or failed drug test? Do we do a 5 on that one? What do you think?
Well, what side would you take?
I would take the failed drug test.
All right, I'll take the 5 touchdowns.
All right, let's do it. This will be fun.
All right, now hold on. So what happens if neither one of them hits?
If he Justin Blackman's out of the league?
No. If he doesn't get this is the 2019 bet, right?
Yeah. So okay, let's say through week 17. Give me week 17.
Right, okay, that's fine. Well, give me week 17
to get
the 5 touchdowns.
Well, that might be an extra week for the drug test.
Well, I'm willing to risk it.
All right. I'm going with the failed drug test.
Okay, do we want
or a failed drug test or suspension for any reason? You got to give me that.
Oh, that I'm totally fine with that. Fine. Do you want to extend it? Do you want to stop it at the end of the regular season? You want to extend it through the postseason? Because we could do that as well.
Let's just keep going. We'll go all the way.
All right, because I think that benefits me rather than you.
Yeah, that's true.
You want to do regular season?
All right, through week 17.
All right, so through week 17, I say Josh Gordon is more likely to score 5 touchdowns than get suspended for any reason. I got 5 on that.
I got suspended.
And how much do you have on it?
5. I got 5.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Well, Luna, sorry, I cut you off a little bit.
That's
so
okay.
It's 5 TDs for Balky, and it's
we have a chat room question
suspension
about
for DG.
Kenyon Drake and David Johnson.
All right, let's go. Damn, I thought I had. Oh no. Let's not answer it. Wash Guy is reminding. This is where we're at the point of the conversation where we have an email about this.
Oh really?
After
is this a real one?
Yes, yeah. After Kenyon Drake ran roughshod over maybe the best defense in the whole league tonight, this email came in last night. What am I supposed to do with him and Chase Edmonds going forward? And do you see this transforming into an RBBC now with Johnson? That is Trevor in San Diego. Thank you for the email, Trevor. Thank you for the reminder, Wasp Guy. Appreciate that. Dave, Cardinals running backs. There's a lot of good ones right now. What are you doing?
Well, I think in redraft you have to just get rid of Chase Edmonds.
I would not do that.
Well, I would, but
okay.
It's okay. I just don't think he's worth rostering unless there's no one else to pick up.
There may not be.
David Johnson, I think he's still the starter. They still say that he's back. But I think, you might be looking at a 60-40 workord split because
that's what scares me.
Drake really looks good. And Johnson hasn't looked all that great. He really, other than his 400-point year, we've all been kind of hoping for him to just come back and be that same
do
guy.
That again, yeah.
Yeah, and he just hasn't. You can argue that the offensive line in Arizona sucks, and you would make a good argument because it does.
It does suck, yeah.
It does suck. But, I mean, Kenyon Drake didn't seem to give a crap. He's like, oh, I didn't know this offensive line. He's like, hey, compared to the offensive line that just came from, this one's great.
Yeah, exactly,
You know, so,
yeah. Oh, my God, people care about winning games here. Let's go.
So I don't know. I mean, I'd be I own David Johnson in Dynasty in a couple of leagues. I'm a little bit nervous about him, and I don't own Drake in those leagues, and so I'd be concerned. Yeah, for sure.
Would you?
I think Drake's a baller. I think Drake's a good football player. I've always thought that actually,
right.
unlike Matt Waldman.
All right. So for me, I would.
By the way,
I have to tell you something after the show. You just reminded me of something.
Matt Waldman had him ranked, I think, like the running back 50 or something as a rookie.
Wasn't great.
No, and you know what? He got drafted as like the 8th or 9th best running back. You know, sometimes maybe you don't listen to the pundit, and you just go by the draft order.
Right now, everybody hits.
You go by the draft order, and maybe you do better.
There's hits and misses for everybody.
But if you just go by the draft order, you'll do better.
But it's nobody's perfect.
Of the pundits.
Yeah, nobody's perfect. All right, so moving on here. So you are rostering David Johnson. You are rostering Kenyon Drake. You are not rostering Chase Edmonds. And if you own both of those guys, both Johnson and Drake, are you more likely to start Johnson or sit both of them?
Say that again.
When Johnson is active, are you more likely to play just Johnson or sit both those guys?
I would not sit both. You got to start somebody. You could start the.
So you would start Johnson.
Yeah, start David Johnson, assuming he's starting and the word is good and all that, and he's healthy.
Okay, fair enough. Now I'm for whatever it's worth. When Johnson is active, I'm going to play him. When he is not active, I am for sure starting Drake going forward, and I'm rostering both Edmonds, Johnson, and Drake anywhere I have them. It gets to be a little bit dicey if you have to roster all three, but it's very difficult for me to cut any one of those three guys right now. All right, moving on. Rick in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Hey, Marvin and Reggie. This is a little bit dated. What's the story with T.Y. Hilton? Are either of you guys starting him against the Steelers? Keep up the great work. That is Rick in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
No, he's dead.
He's not dead, but he is out, and he's going to be out for the next 3 to 4 weeks, according to Frank Reich, which is what we heard today. Zach Pascal, Dave, could be the number one receiver for the Colts. You playing him?
Zach,
no, you don't like him.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I like him.
All right, what about Chester Rogers or Paris Campbell? I guess if you're not playing Pascal, you're not playing either of those guys then, right? Pascal, for what it's worth, when Hilton was out, Pascal was in 92% of offensive snaps for Indianapolis.
Yeah, Pascal, fine. If you want to play him, you can. I'm not super excited.
But you're not. That's what I'm trying to get at. You're not
super excited about starting him. You know, I don't own a lot of spots. They have 2 decent tight ends. They have Ebron and they have Doyle.
Ebron, who got upgraded this week as far as the injury report goes.
So, yeah. I don't know. If you're in a pinch, sure, you can start him. But I feel like
you're going to look for other options.
I feel like a lot of owners should have Terry McLaurin's or DJ Charks that they've gotten, whether off waivers or late draft picks, and hopefully you have them even with injuries.
Right.
But maybe not. I don't know. You know.
Well, Pascal went through that whole scoring a touchdown every single week for 4 straight weeks, and then whenever he bought into him, that's when he put up the donut or the 1 point or 5 points.
That seems to like him, Pascal.
He likes Pascal.
Plus, it's a programming language, Pascal. No one uses it anymore.
Is that what it's called? Pascal?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a coder.
I'm not either. I don't remember it. All right, got a couple of mystery players to get to this week. These were not from listeners. These were something I crafted on my own, Dave. You ready?
Yes.
Mystery player number 1. I am currently...
Jeez, your voice is getting better and better, Balky.
I know, it's terrible. I am currently 6th in the NFL in rushing, yet FFPC players only drafted me... Oh, this is not right. I wrote this wrong. As FFPC players only drafted me as RB16, okay? I'm a pedigreed player from a premium college football program who currently leads the entire NFL in Pro Football Focus's elusive rating. Who am I? Elusive rating, as a reminder, is a rating of how good you are at shaking tackles and how much yards you get after contact.
All right, so 16th. That means we're walking into the 3rd and 4th round of third round.
Yep.
Josh Jacobs.
That is 100% correct.
Yes.
Josh
really?
Jacobs.
Yeah, baby. I love it.
6th in the NFL in rushing right now. He leads Pro Football Focus's rating in elusive rating, and he was drafted as the RB16 in the FFPC main event. Good call on that. What gave it away? Just curiously.
I think the 6th in rushing. It seems I don't own him in many spots, but I know he's been getting some good rushing yards. And then the 16th, that just getting the kind of the spot of the ADP a little bit.
Okay, yeah. Sports betting man guest Derrick Henry also would have been a good guess, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Correct. All right, final. We got to wrap this show up. Final mystery player of the night. FFPC players may have drafted me as wide receiver 51 in the 12th round this summer.
Yeesh.
But I have outperformed that and am now sitting at wide receiver 30 on the season. I am 2 touchdown receptions off the league lead.
2 what?
2 touchdown receptions off the league lead, and have at least 2 more end zone targets than any other player in the NFL. Who am I?
So this is a touchdown-dependent player. He's wide receiver 30. Oh, man.
And if you need a hint, I have an interesting hint relating to mystery player 1.
Tyrell Williams.
It is not Tyrell Williams.
Ah!
You got the right conference. Oh, no, you got the wrong conference. Excuse me. He's not in the AFC.
So he's in the NFC. Wide receiver 51.
I'll tell you this right now. I don't think this gives it away. But he did play at all right, I'll hang on.
Emmanuel Sanders?
It is not Emmanuel Sanders. Right. He did play at least one collegiate game head-to-head versus mystery player number 1.
It's Josh Jacobs. At least one?
At least one game in college on the same field as Josh Jacobs.
I don't know college as well as you do.
Okay.
So was that Clemson against Alabama?
Wasn't Clemson.
I'm not.
Wasn't an ACC guy.
All right.
Clemson is ACC.
Now this is more.
Alabama.
This is actually worse of a hint.
Alabama is SEC. So you got to think of SEC schools.
Well, if you said at least one, I was thinking one, like it would be like a bowl game where they don't normally.
No, because I don't know if this guy was healthy, and I don't know if Josh Jacobs was actually playing. So I say at least one because I know for sure there was one game where these guys faced off.
I don't know that I'm going to get this one.
All right, you will get it. This is another hint. A guy, first of all,
he's in the NFC.
He's in the NFC.
He's the wide receiver 30, right?
He's wide receiver 30
yeah,
heading into week 9, yes.
And he's got a lot of touchdowns?
He has,
apparently.
I believe, 4 touchdowns on the season.
That's it?
And this is a guy, I'll give this away. He is a rookie. And he's a receiver. He's a rookie receiver.
All right. So rookie receiver.
Nobody has gotten it in the chat room so far right now.
All right. So
it is not LSU sports betting, man. I'll tell you that right now. This guy did not play. He also.
So who are the rookie receivers? Obviously, you have. All
right, don't look at it.
I'm not looking at the chat
because Wasp guy just got it.
Yeah, I'm not thinking clearly.
Congratulations, Kern. This guy had a college teammate that went very high in this year's draft as well, and also played the same position as him. That may give it away.
My screen has gone black, by the way. So
perfect. Yeah. He was college teammates with a fellow SEC receiver that went in the first round of the NFL draft this year.
So let's see. Who went in the first round of the NFL draft this year? I'm drawing a blank, dude. I don't know.
All right. Okay. Both these guys were college teammates at Ole Miss. They were receivers at Ole Miss, Mississippi. One was A.J. Brown.
So A.J. Brown and then.
His college teammate.
Oh, yeah, Debo?
No, Debo Samuel went to South Carolina.
I don't know, Balky. Why don't you tell me who the fuck it is? Just like the last gay time you asked me these stupid fucking questions, I'm going to swear a bunch because I'm getting pissed off.
I know you're getting ticked off. It's a guy that you and I were not very high on in the redraft process or in the rookie draft process, and a guy who's actually proved us wrong quite a bit this year. Guy that we thought.
I don't necessarily think so. I see his name is DK Metcalf.
It's DK Metcalf, yeah.
3 for 13 and 2 touchdowns is not proving me wrong.
Well, he's wide receiver 30 right now, and you look at what he did last week. Yes, it was touchdown heavy, but he has had some other games this season where he's had like 6 for 80, where he's had 5 for 79.
He's so great. They brought in Josh Gordon to replace him.
Which, I mean, we'll see where that goes. I'm not sure what to make of this.
All right, how about this question?
All right.
I will bet $5.
Here we go.
Over who has a better NFL career, Andy Isabella
or Josh
and you
Gordon,
can have DK Metcalf.
DK Metcalf. Didn't you make I feel like you tweeted this out before the season started.
Well, Isabella was drafted ahead of Metcalf. So
no, but I'm willing. Maybe I'm wrong on this. I thought you tweeted that out before either of these guys had gotten drafted in the NFL draft. I think you tweeted out that you said Andy Isabella would have a better NFL
and I
career.
still believe it.
Yeah. I mean, I will put 5 on it.
You don't have to.
But I don't know how
it's a 5-year bet.
How do we quantify this total FFPC points over the course of their NFL careers?
All right. How about better? This will be fun. How about better sophomore season next year?
All right, so better sophomore season.
Which is dicey because Isabella has like 55 snaps
on
the season. This is an easy one for you. I'm just giving you money at this point.
Well, I don't know about that, but I will do the bet. So Andy Isabella, versus DK Metcalf.
Sure.
Most FFPC points in
2020.
In 2020.
Yeah.
I have 5 on
I got 5
DK
on it.
Metcalf.
Sorry for the swearing, everybody.
And that's
Your mystery players really irritate me sometimes.
well, listen. At least I.
Well, you give me hints like I don't watch college football all the time. You're like, oh, this guy, he played in the WAC conference. One time they traveled to Hawaii and then they lost by 20. Who is it?
I would never bring up the WAC conference. I brought up the SEC, which is probably the most followed conference.
I'm aware it's followed. I don't sit
and I feel like
I have a life on Saturday.
No, that's fine. But I feel like you follow it as far as rookie drafts go. Like you knew that these guys were teammates.
I do, but for some reason I was drawing a blank on.
And that's fine.
Rookie
I get
wide
it.
receivers because I didn't draft many rookie wide receivers.
And I will say this: I could not name one dynasty league where you have either DK Metcalf or AJ Brown. I could not name one.
You're right because I don't have either.
There
of them
you go.
In
So perfect. So
I
get why.
Debo.
You don't know.
I don't know Debo. I don't know McCole Hardman.
Jesus, you just draft Isabella everywhere.
Yes. I drafted Isabella and I drafted Kyler Murray, and that's it. That's all I drafted.
That's all.
No, I know what I drafted. Who are some of the second and third
There's no
round guys?
running backs. You drafted it.
Who are some of the second and third round guys that got?
McCole Hardman.
No. Yeah.
That was a nay for you, McCole. Terry McLaurin. You didn't draft anyone.
I had McLaurin in 2 leagues.
Oh, nice,
so
nice work. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And he was a third, fourth round guy. So
yeah,
he was decent.
I can't really.
Then tight ends. Hawkinson. I did not draft Fant.
Noah Font. Okay, all right.
Font.
Whatever. I don't know. You know what's funny about this whole dynasty thing is I've been licking my chops at first and second round picks in dynasty drafts for probably the last 2 months now. I'm like, oh my God, there's going to be like 6 receivers taken in the first round. There's going to be like 4 running backs taken in the first round. This is going to be bananas. It's going to be great. And now I look at, I keep reading the same articles over and over again, and these same pundits that were saying, hey, these guys are going to be great. Now all of a sudden that they're playing the 2019 season out, they're poking holes in the games of all these guys, and now I'm less and less excited about these guys.
I also missed out on that one wide receiver. He was the number 1 wide receiver for someone.
Yep, I'm sure he was.
He went to the Cardinals in the 4th round.
Are you playing this up to be funny?
Number 1. He was number 1
for Iowa State. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot his name now.
I believe he was.
Actually, to be honest with you, I did forget his name.
His name is Hakeem Butler.
Oh, Hakeem Butler. He was like a top 8 pick.
I believe he was the most highly regarded receiver.
Yeah, I missed on him too. How's he doing?
Yeah, he's on IR. Oh, Dave, if he wouldn't have gotten hurt. If only he wouldn't have gotten hurt.
The funny thing is that Isabella's doing crappy.
Yeah.
He's crushing Hakeem Butler. Crushing him.
Well, Butler had the injury, though.
He did.
Say that. So.
Next year, Hakeem Butler. For all we know, Hakeem Butler 100 catches for 1,500 yards.
Can you imagine that? Matt Walden.
I would be eating a lot of crow.
Yeah, you would. You would indeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the long program tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed the last 25 minutes. I know I did. I want to thank Brian McKinney for coming on the program tonight and spinning a good yarn about how good his team has been this year, how he plans to keep it that way going forward. Good stuff from him. Hopefully he has a good showing and is able to cash pretty high in the 2019 Football Guys Players Championship. Remember to check out Danny Gibson on the High Stakes Lowdown, rotoviz.com/podcast. You can check it out there, as well as the Blue Wire Podcast Network and Apple Podcasts as well. Good stuff in there. It's only about a 32-minute episode, but there's a lot of good knowledge in for Week 9, so make sure you listen to that before you set your lineups. Thanks for everybody for hanging out on Friday night with us. Apologize for my voice. Your weekend starts now.
This has been another episode of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com. That was broadcast live and heard around the world. Eric and Dave will be back next week with more analysis, interviews, and advice from a guest much smarter than they are. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk with you again next week.
We're on the team floor, even more so if we on tour. Me and E explore the country, wondering about the evening before. Trying to explain where the time went, while other rappers find a studio to grind in.
Hey, where do you think, just curiously, when we draft leagues coming, FFPC will probably have leagues going on.
Last guy says honey and T-ball.
Yeah, I will. I'll get on that. And I'm being serious, I will. FFPC leagues will probably start up in January for DEs, best balls, right?
No, after the Super Bowl.
They won't start prior to the Super Bowl like they did last year?
I don't think we started anything.
They definitely did start prior to the Super Bowl last year.
Do you want to bet 5 on it?
Yes, we had leagues going on prior to the Super Bowl this past year. Yes. I will bet 5
Best
on
ball
that.
leagues?
Yes, best ball leagues. I will bet 5 on that.
All right, I'll bet.
All right.
I'm betting.
I got 5 on.
I got 5 that we didn't have best ball leagues until after the Super Bowl.
Okay, I got 5 on best ball league starting before the Super Bowl this past year.
All right. Anyone else is still listening? Do you want me to tell you what the grand prize for this year's playoff challenges will be?
Why are you revealing this now?
No one else is listening.
Okay.
Should I reveal it?
Yeah, go ahead. And then we'll be able to crowdsource how many people actually listen.
It's a $500,000.
$500,000 in the 2019-2020 FFPC World Famous Playoff Challenge.
500.
If you win it, you will win $500,000. How much are the entries?
$200 though.
Unbelievable.
I know.
Okay, so that.
I'm getting, my phone is blowing
your phone's
up already.
blowing up already.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Wait, that's Leroy telling me how stupid Ron is for not going to the Breeders' Cup.
Okay, I agree with that. Hey,
Wait, it's the opposite.
All right. The last thing I was going to say, even if we start best ball leagues after the Super Bowl this year, what round does Cooper Kupp go in?
Second.
You don't think he gives a first round pick?
I don't think so.
He's like
he's still white.
He's like wide receiver 2 right now.
I know he's fantastic. Yeah, second, late first, second.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
I don't know.
I get it.
See what happens.
All right, Wasp guy already chiming in. Nice.
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah. this $500,000 bucks.
Don't tell Anon.
Don't tell it.
Q.
Don't tell Antoine.
Don't tell Q. That's a Trump thing.
All right. We gotta end this show.
Is a deep state.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We will talk to you again next Friday. Appreciate it, everybody. I'm gonna go rest my voice.